we are kicking things off with an exclusive look at the UFC legend Jose Aldo. This Hall of Fame competitor has opened up about the fight he desperately wanted to have, revealing that a rematch with Conor McGregor is the one battle he truly regrets not getting to compete in. We dive deep into the history of that epic clash and what Aldo has to say about his career trajectory and his current relationship with McGregor.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSockets Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we turn our attention to the intensity within the cage as Namajunas calls for serious accountability from the UFC. The two-time UFC strawweight champion is demanding that the organization implement much stricter penalties for eye pokes, proposing instant purse deductions, even for accidental fouls that could seriously harm a fighter's long-term health. Find out what Namajunas is demanding and why this issue has become a major talking point in the sport. In big news for the MMA landscape, a retired UFC veteran is sounding the alarm about an upcoming main event. This former star believes the scheduled fight between Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano will ultimately be a waste of time, predicting that the outcome will play itself out and how the public will react to that matchup. We break down the skepticism surrounding this highly anticipated bout. And finally, we look at the potential for major crossover events as Chicago Cubs owner Todd Ricketts expresses a strong desire to see the UFC at Wrigley Field. But this dream isn't without a significant roadblock, and we explore the political and personal hurdles preventing this potential showdown. Stay with us as we bring you all the latest breaking news. Ex-UFC champion Jose Aldo has opened up about his career, revealing that a rematch with Conor McGregor remains the one fight he regretted not having. Aldo expressed that while he would have liked the opportunity to redeem himself, he holds no regrets regarding his journey. The clash between Aldo and McGregor remains one of the most iconic moments in UFC history, highlighted by McGregor's knockout victory in the first round to secure the undisputed featherweight championship. Despite the high-profile nature of their rivalry, a direct rematch did not materialize immediately, as McGregor pursued bouts against Floyd Mayweather and Nate Diaz, while Aldo competed against Frankie Edgar at UFC 200, where he captured the interim featherweight title. Aldo stated that a rematch with McGregor was a possibility but ultimately did not come to pass. He emphasized his satisfaction with his career, affirming, "I was fully committed. I never turned down a fight. I always fought the best." Furthermore, the Hall of Famer admitted a desire to compete at a higher weight class, noting, "At the time, I would have liked to fight at lightweight while I was champion, maybe even for a title. That's something I wanted but couldn't do." In a more personal revelation, Jose Aldo discussed his current relationship with Conor McGregor years after their fight. He confirmed that animosity has given way to a strong rapport, stating that they remain in touch and exchange messages. Aldo conveyed warmth toward McGregor's personal journey, expressing happiness that the Irishman accepted Jesus as his savior and extending his best wishes. "My relationship with McGregor is very good. Not just with Conor, but with all my opponents. I've always had respect and a certain fondness for everyone." When discussing the difficulty of his career, Aldo categorized all his fights as challenging, but surprisingly singled out his bout against Chad Mendes in Rio as the most difficult. He noted that for him, the challenge lay not in the fight itself, but in the preparation leading up to it. "If I had to pick one, the one everyone asks about, I always say the rematch against Chad Mendes in Rio." Former UFC strawweight champion Namajunas is calling for stricter penalties within the organization regarding eye pokes by fighters. Namajunas, 33, has stated that despite undergoing eye surgery to repair damage sustained in her loss to Natalia Silva at UFC 324, she is cleared to return to training. Following the fight in January, Namajunas mentioned that Silva had poked her eye several times, necessitating the use of a silicone tube for correction. On Monday, Namajunas expressed relief that she was finally healthy, but strongly urged the UFC to implement financial sanctions for eye pokes, regardless of intent. She proposed immediate purse deductions for any poke, even if accidental, citing the potential for long-term health consequences. Namajunas stated, "I really hope eye pokes will be taken more seriously in the future. I propose instant purse deduction even for an accident. An accident that could seriously affect a fighter's health long-term. Anyways, I'm just grateful that it was not more serious." While referees routinely caution fighters 2 or 3 times for eye pokes, veteran MMA referee Herb Dean had previously indicated that rules for officials to enforce point deductions were already in place. The issue of eye pokes has gained significant attention over the last 6 months, highlighted by the premature end of UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall's fight against Cyril Gane in October. In that bout, Gane accidentally poked Aspinall in the eyes late in the first round, leading to a no-contest ruling. Aspinall was subsequently diagnosed with a rare eye condition and has not yet returned to the octagon following surgery in February. A retired UFC veteran has expressed skepticism about the upcoming bout between Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, suggesting it will ultimately be a waste of time. The two fighters are scheduled to make their comebacks at the main event of a most valuable promotions card on May 16, which will be broadcast live on Netflix and feature several other notable matchups, including a clash between Nate Diaz and Mike Perry, and Francis Ngannou against Philippe Lins. In an interview with Damon Martin on MMA Fightings, The Fighter versus the Writer, Matt Brown was openly critical of the Rousey versus Carano contest. Brown drew parallels to past high-profile fights, comparing the potential viewership to Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. "It will do big numbers, but who is actually going to care?" Brown questioned, pondering the likelihood of viewers feeling dissatisfied after watching the bout. He suggested that the outcome will eventually resolve itself, stating, "At some point it's going to play itself out. Probably, if anything, it's all going to help the UFC. People are going to become fight fans, and they're like, I'm sick of this shit. Can I just watch a real god *am fight? Oh yeah, we have a place that does that. The UFC." Ronda Rousey has not competed in MMA since late 2016, while Gina Carano's last known fight dates back to August 2009. Both women were pioneers in women's MMA during their respective eras, raising questions about their current competitive viability. The anticipation builds for the May 16 event as fans await the results of this highly anticipated, yet potentially fleeting, spectacle. Chicago Cubs owner Todd Ricketts has publicly expressed a strong desire for the Wrigley Field to host a UFC event, identifying it as one of his bucket list sporting events. During an appearance on the Don't At Me with Dan Dakich podcast, Ricketts stated that while he is a fan of the UFC, the event would be feasible provided there is no rain. When pressed on potential obstacles, Ricketts cited uncertainty regarding his siblings' opinions as a factor. The question of family dynamics has emerged as a potential roadblock. Ricketts mentioned that his siblings, including brothers Tom and Pete and sister Laura, would need to be on board. The political landscape adds another layer of complexity, as Pete Ricketts is a staunch Republican senator, while his sister Laura is described as a strong liberal activist. Ricketts noted that family conversations often focus on tactical matters like fundraising, suggesting that political disagreements are managed within the family structure. While the possibility of a Trump rally at Wrigley Field was dismissed, the UFC proposal remains under consideration. The context of the UFC's recent expansion, including an outdoor event at the White House, fuels speculation about Wrigley's potential to host such a major event. Ricketts emphasized his preference for sporting events and quality competition at the stadium, indicating that the focus remains on athletic entertainment rather than political rallies. The situation highlights the intersection of sports ownership, personal family dynamics, and broader political affiliations in major civic venues.